Hi, welcome to Chapter 6 of your Statistics in Public Administration course. In today's video, we will be talking about measures of dispersion. But before that, may I ask everyone to please bow down your heads and close your eyes as we come to the Lord in prayer. Lord Heavenly Father, we would like to thank you and would like to honor you for this great day that you have given us. Thank you for your grace and for your mercy, especially, Lord, for the blessing of every day. Thank you so much that we have opportunity that we continue to study our lessons in the Statistics in Public Administration course. We do ask, Lord, for guidance, especially, Lord, understanding the concepts, the lessons that we need to learn in this particular course. We ask, Lord, for your intelligence and wisdom, as well as understanding, Lord, in this particular matter. We do acknowledge, Lord, that without you, we are nothing. Thank you. We continue to commit to you every day and the things that we're going to do today. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay? So, again, what we will be talking about is the measures of dispersion. So, the learning objectives for this particular chapter is that at the end of it, you will be able to describe data using the measures of dispersion and compute and interpret numerical summaries to describe the sample. Okay, let's begin. So, this is just actually a continuation of measures of location to which you gathered your data. Okay, nakapag-gather na kayo ng data and then you summarize it. Then we'd like to determine the location, yung center. Okay, that's the measures of location. From the set of data, we are summarizing the individual values or individual data into a single value. Okay, that's the measures of location. So, makiosyoso tayo ng konti. Say, for example, we would like also to know how far are each individual scores when it comes to the center, which is the mean. Okay? So, ulitin ko ha. How far are each individual scores to the center, okay, or the mean? And in here, malalaman natin sa discussion natin if the set of data that we collected are heterogeneous, meaning magkakaiba, variety or variation, and homogeneous. Okay? Homogeneous meaning to say they are compact. Okay? They are dispersed. So, the measures of dispersion is that also known as the measures of variability in other books. It tells the variation of the data from one another and gives a clear idea about the distribution of the data. Yun yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. We already know the center, which is the mean, the median mode. And then, we would like to know how scattered or how compressed are each individual scores to our center. Okay, that's the measures of location, yung variability, tinatawag natin. Okay, it shows the homogeneity or the heterogeneity of the distribution of the observations as mentioned a while ago. It includes the following: the range, which has been discussed to you in the previous videos that we had. It is the difference between the highest and lowest value in the data set. Letter B is the interquartile range. It is the difference between the two values in the data set selected to determine where the middle 50% lie between them. So the difference between the interquartile range and the range itself is that ang interquartile range is that kukunin natin yung between two values, any. Sa range kasi, it has to be the maximum or the highest and the minimum or the lowest value. Sa interquartile, kahit anong value doon. Okay, to get the 50% data yung that is between them. Okay, and then the average deviation, it is the average difference between the mean and all other values in the data set. So later on makikita niyo yung average deviation tinatawag. And then the standard deviation, it is a measure which shows how much variation to which we are trying to see the spread or scatter from the mean exists if there exists a spread or scattered measure of data. Okay, and we will be focusing our discussion only on the standard deviation because it's the most useful and the most popular measure of variability, because it says here it returns to the original units of measure of the data set. And the standard deviation calculates the extent to which the values differ from the average and is based on all values. So, ang kagandahan nito, we are talking about the extent to which each individual values are different from the average or the center or the measure of central tendency. It is based on all values. Our reference here is the central tendency. Then, a change in one value in the data set affects the value of standard deviation, just like the mean. Okay, so if we had an extreme value for the mean, say meron tayong 14, 14, 15, 14, 16, 16, 17, 18, then nagkaroon kayo doon ng dinagdagan ninyo ng isa, ginawa nyo 25, 36. Okay? Layo compared to the set of data previously given. Or the lowest, 14, say 14, 15, 16, 16, 17, 18, then nakakuha kayo doon ng 3. So, the mean will be extremely affected. So as with the standard deviation. Because the standard deviation is dependent to the mean. Kung ano mangyayari kay mean, ganun din ang mangyayari kay standard deviation. So, kapag nadagdagan ng extreme values, of course, there has to be an effect in the standard deviation. Okay, and to calculate the standard deviation for ungrouped data, we follow these steps. First is to calculate the mean of the data set. Second is we subtract the mean from each score to get the deviations from the mean, or we call it the average deviation. Square each deviation from the mean and add up all the squared deviations. Okay, to which we use the formula S, small letter s, is equal to the square root of the summation of x sub I minus x bar, which is without the mean, quantity squared, where I is from 1 to n, divided by n minus 1. Okay? Where S is the standard deviation for the sample and x sub I is the individual value in the data set. X bar is the mean for the sample or the sample mean. And n is the total number of values in the data set. This n, small letter n. Okay. So, naulit. Let's have an example. Okay. So, we will be solving this example in our next